الأعدادي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أبنائي وبناتي، مرحبا بكم في برنامجكم في بيتنا مدرسة. احنا مع بعض إن شاء الله النهاردة في final revision of the first branch of maths for the second prep, which is algebra. And now we are going to discuss easily by details the questions and their answers, and we are going to make a revision about all our syllabus to can get the final examination to can easily solve it. Now we are going to discuss the first important question, which is complete questions. In the paper sheet of the exam, we are going to begin firstly with the complete questions, and it is so important to can solve it firstly, so we are going to discuss it at the beginning. Now the first question of the algebra will be complete. Complete Q union Q dash equals points. Q union Q dash equals points. This is the first step. We can get the union of the rational number and the irrational number. We can make a quick revision about the meaning of the two sets. The rational numbers, which consists of the integers, the natural number, the fractions, decimals, but limited numbers. The rational number consists of all integers, all natural numbers, all fractions, decimals, but the bounded decimals. But the Q dash, which is irrational numbers, is the numbers under the square root or cubic root, which has no square root. For example, root 5. If we want to get the value of root 5, we can't divide the number 5 into two numbers. Number times itself can get the value of 5. So number 5 has no square root. So root 5 is irrational numbers. If we want to make sure that root 5 is rational or not, we can get it by using the hand calculator. We can get root 5 equals many decimals. So the calculator itself cannot predict or cannot exactly find the value of root 5. So this is a summary about the rational numbers Q and the irrational numbers. And the union between them now is composed by real numbers, which is R. So R, which is the greatest set of numbers we studied up till now, R is including Q and Q dash. Another question, root 3 plus 1 all square. And we have studied before, that is, we have an expansion to this bracket all power of 2 equals points plus 2 root 3. Points plus 2 root 3. The expansion of this bracket all power of 2 have three terms, three different terms. Root 3 plus 1 all power of 2 equals the first times itself, root 3 times root 3 equals 3, 1 times itself equals 1, and the first times the second times 2 equals the middle term. Again, the first times itself, root 3 times root 3 equals 3, 1 times 1 equals 1, and root 3 times 1 equals root 3 times 2 equals 2 root 3. And now these two terms are like 3 plus 1 equals 4 plus 2 root 3. So the missing term now is 4. He get to me root 3 plus 1 all power of 2 equals points plus 2 root 3. So the missing term is 4 by adding the two live terms 3 plus 1. Another question. If x power 2 plus y power 2 equals 25, so and xy equals 5, x power 2 plus y power 2 equals 25, and xy equals 5. Then x over y plus y over x equals points. He wants to get the value of the adding of these two rational numbers, x over y plus y over x equals points. We cannot remember that is x or y. I haven't the value of each one, either x or y, but I have a complex number or a complicated number, x power 2 plus y power 2. This is a complex number or composed number, which is 25, and another one which is 5. So I must get a common denominator to these fractions to get the number. So the solution will be x over y plus y over x equals, by getting the multiplication of the two denominators, x times y equal xy, and by making the cross multiplication, x times x equals x power 2 plus y times y equals y power 2. This is a method of getting common denominator between two fractions or two rational numbers. The two denominators times each other equal xy, and by making cross multiplication to get the numerator, x times x equal x power 2, y times y equals y power 2. So by substituting by x power of 2 plus y power of 2 equals 25, x times y equals 5, by making the division, the result will be 5. The result will be 5. So when we get me a complete to get the value of x or y, I can't find or make an insist or a focus about the value of x or y. No, we must think widely to can make a composed between adding two fractions to make them a common denominator firstly, then substitute by the composed number in the given. Another question. The closed interval 3 and 5 difference the set 3. The closed interval 3 closed and 5 closed difference the set 3. If you want to subtract the point 3 from this interval, we must eliminate the point 3 from the interval. So the 3 from here will be opened. As we see here, this is the answer. The answer 3 closed difference 3, make it open 3. To can eliminate the point 3 from the interval, so I must not begin with 4. No, but to eliminate the number 3, to can get from just after 3 to make it open. Another question. 1 over 4 of the number 4 to the power of 20. Quarter of the number 4 power of 20 equals points. If you want to get the quarter of this number, by dividing it by 4. If you want to get 1 over 4 of any number, by multiplying 1 over 4 times it, or dividing it by 4. And now the result will be 1 over 4 times 4 to the power of 20 equals 4 power 20 divided by 4. As we said, if you want to get 1 over 4 times 4 power 20, or dividing 4 power 20 divided 4. So the result now 4 power 19. From where? Because we know from before, if you want to divide two numbers have the same base, we subtract the powers. Subtract the powers. And we consider 4, this 4 is power 1. So 20 minus 1 equals 19. So if we want to generalize this as a rule, we get 1 quarter of 4 power 20 means eliminate 1 4 from 4 power 20 to equal 4 power 19. If we want to get 1/3 of 3 power 20 by eliminating 1 3 from them, so the result 3 power 19 and so on. So we can consider it as a rule to can get it without details. Now another question. The conjugate number of 1 over root 2 minus 1. The conjugate number of 1 over root 2 minus 1 is points. So the conjugate We know it from before, that is, we can multiply it by the conjugate number. We have root 2 minus 1. The conjugate of it is root 2 plus 1. So by multiplying all the expression by root 2 plus 1 over root 2 plus 1. The multiplication will be 1 times root 2 equals root 2. 1 times 1 equals 1. Root 2 times root 2 equals 2. 1 times 1 equals 1. So the denominator now will be 1. We cannot put it here. Root 2 plus 1 over 1 equals root 2 plus 1. And this is the conjugate number now is root 2 minus 1. And we know before that is the conjugate number of any two terms is changing the sign between them. So the conjugate will be root 2 minus 1. ودلوقتي بعد ما شفنا أبنائي وبناتي إجابة الأسئلة الكومبليت شكلها عامل إزاي، بنقدر نجاوب بالديتيلز by steps the complete questions. دلوقتي فاصل ونرجع لكم بسرعة. أبنائي طلبة وطالبات الصف الثاني الإعدادي، أهلا ومرحبا بكم مرة تانية. رجعنا لكم بعد الفاصل لنستكمل معا شكل السؤال، شكل الإجابة بتاعته النموذجية، عشان نقدر إن شاء الله بكل التوفيق نركز في امتحان الترم ونشوف إجاباتنا النموذجية تبقى عاملة إزاي. رجعنا عشان نكمل مع بعض the final revision of the branch of algebra, and now we are going to discuss different kinds of problems about the sheet paper of the final exam. Another question we are going to discuss about the intervals. The closed interval -5 and 2 intersect with 3 and 7. We are going to make a focus about the relation between the two intervals here using the number line. This is a number line. The first interval will be from -2 to 5. This is the interval, the first interval, and the second one will be from 3 to 7. From 3 to 7, this is the second interval. And now we can concentrate about the relation between two intervals by putting them in one number line to make the relation be clear between them. The intersection part is from 3 to 5. Yes, from 3 to 5, this is the part of intersection which repeated between the two intervals. From 3 to 5, this region already exists in the first interval and also already exists in the second interval. So the intersection between two intervals is the common part between them. The result will be closed 3 and closed 5. This is the answer. Another question. The solution set of the equation x power 2 plus 4 x power 2 minus 1 equals 0. The first idea we can guess it is how to distribute or how to make the expansion between the two brackets. But this is a wrong idea. I now want to get the value of x from each bracket as a separate. So the answer will be x power 2 plus 4 and x power 2 minus 1. The solution set is points. So the answer will be by making a separate of the sheet paper to get the solution set of each bracket as it is. X power 2 plus 4 equals 0. And the second, x power 2 minus 1 equals 0. By getting the solution from this bracket, x power 2 plus 4 equals 0, by transforming 4 to the other side by its opposite sign, positive 4, transforming it into -4. If you want to get the value of x now, I think it is not possible, because x power 2 equals negative 4 to make the square root to both sides to get the value of x, but we have no square root to a negative number. So we have no solution here. This part of the question, we have no solution. But the second part, x power 2 minus 1 equals 0, by transforming negative 1 to the other side by positive, so x power 2 equals 1. Now by getting the square root, x power 2, its square root is x, and the square root of 1 is positive or negative 1. So we have two possible solutions in this part. Maybe x equals positive 1, and maybe it is equal negative 1. So the solution set now equals 1 and negative 1. If we have two solutions also from this part, so the solution set of the main question will be 4 solutions. If we get 2 solutions from here and 2 solutions from here, so we get 4 solutions. But x power 2 equals negative 4 has no solution. So these 2 solutions only possible for all this question. Another question of the complete. Now simplify. 3 root 20 minus 2 root 45 plus 4 times root 1 over 5. These two terms have the same method of solving, but this term has another or different way to solve it by multiplying it by times root 5 over root 5, as we faced it before. But root 20 and root 45, this is a large numbers inside the root, so we can simplify them. The answer, as we see, we can make the 20 equals 4 times 5. Why 4 times 5? And we know that is 20 may be equal 2 times 10. 20 may be equal 1 times 20. But we can make 20 4 times 5 because 4 has a square root. So we must get any number under the square root is a multiplication of 2 factors. But the important thing is one of them must have a square root. So root 20 equals 4 times 5. 45 equals 9 times 5 because 9 has a square root. And root 1 over 5, as we said, we must multiply it times root 5 over root 5 to can eliminate the root from the denominator to make the denominator be integer. So root 4 equals 2 now. Yes, root 4 equals 2 as we see, and the root is now only on 5. 3 times 2, root 5, and root 9 equals 3 as we see, negative 2 times 3, root 5. And now by multiplying each of the numerator and the denominator, root 1 times root 5 equals root 5, root 5 times root 5 equals 5. By simplifying root 5 with 5 and 3 times 2 and 2 times 3, the answer will be 6 root 5, 6 root 5, and this is only root 5. So they have the same root now, so they are like terms. They are like terms. 6 minus 6 plus 1 equals 1 root 5. We can eliminate 6 root 5 with negative 6 root 5, so the rest of the answer will be root 5. Another question now about solving many problems, how to deal with the square roots or the cubic roots as an irrational numbers. So another question, if a equals 3 over root 5 minus root 3, this number is one of the important questions, how to deal with the roots in the denominator. So we must multiply it by the conjugate number. And b equals root 5 minus root 3, I think B is ready to use because we have no roots in the denominator. But a needs to multiply it by the conjugate number because they have roots in the denominator. Then find the value of a power 2 plus 2ab plus b power 2. The answer will be, after modifying a, as we said, we must multiply it by the conjugate number. Yes, this is a conjugate. Root 5 minus root 3, its conjugate will be root 5 plus root 3. By multiplying the numerator and the denominator, as we said before, 2 times root 5 equals 2 root 5, 2 times root 3 equals 2 root 3. But the denominators are conjugate, so first times first and second times second also. 5 minus 3, because root 5 times root 5 equals 5, root 3 times root 3 equals 3. Now the denominator be integer. 5 minus 3 equals 2. This is the denominator. By dividing each term by 2, 2 root 5 divided 2 equals root 5. 2 root 3 divided 2 equals root 3. So a, after modifying it, will be root 3 plus root 5. Now we are going to make the numerical value he wants to get. A power 2 plus 2ab plus b power 2. Before substituting in any value he wants to get, we must modify the values of a and b. If a or b has a root in the denominator, so it needs to multiply by the conjugate number. And if it has no root in the denominator, so it is ready to use. As we said in a and b, a has a root in the denominator, so it needs to multiply by the conjugate number, and b has no roots in the denominator, so it will be ready to use as it is. Now by substituting in the numerical value he wants to get, the number will be the value of a power 2 plus 2ab plus b power 2. We can associate them to make a bracket a plus b all power 2. And we know from before that is the expansion of this bracket, a power 2 plus b power 2, and the middle term will be a plus b all power 2. Now we can substitute by a and b in this expansion, will be easier than by substituting a and b here in this expression. So a equals root 5 plus root 3, b root 5 minus root 3, and all power 2. By eliminating root 3 with negative root 3, the remainder will be root 5 plus root 5. Root 5 plus root 5. So the answer will be 2 root 5 and still power 2. By making 2 root 5 all power 2, root 5 power 2 equals 5, 2 power 2 equals 4. So 4 times 5 will be 20. This is the final answer of the questions by substituting a and b as we said. 2 root 5 all power 2 equals 20. ودي كانت نهاية سؤالنا وإجاباتنا وأسئلتنا، ونتمنى نكون وفقنا في توصيل معلومة. بكل التوفيق والنجاح في برنامجكم في بيتنا مدرسة، وإلى لقاء آخر. ونتمنى كل التوفيق لأولادنا، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.